Thank you, Giri, and thank you, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, I've been in the pest control world for 15 years or so. So I know where you are, I know where you guys are coming from. I then went to move on to a different life, where to try out different things. And that's where I came up with innovation. And I now have a company called Pestroniks Innovation that develops new technology, new ways to look at pest management. And also at the same time, we're going to be teaching you a little bit about what the future has in store and seeing it through our eyes, okay? And that's the most important thing to take away is I want you to see the world through our eyes. And our eyes are very different from everybody else's at the moment because of the uniqueness of our technology. So we're in everything pretty much at the moment. We're an innovation company. So as long as you need innovation, you can give us a call. We can come and help you out. But our core competencies are in entomology and biotechnology. That's what I bring to the company. And then there's medical entomology. And then I've partnered up with a whole bunch of electronics wizards. And so when you put that together, we create our own science, and we call this science Pestroniks. So what you do is you come to us with an idea. We turn that idea into a concept. Then we turn that concept into a prototype. We test that with you. We then do pre-production tooling, and then you see your final product, and then we go into product manufacture. Now, as a new company, it's really hard to get a company to buy into this. Just tell me your ideas, and we'll turn it into a product for you. It's hard to get companies to understand that. So to start out with, we decided we'll come out with our own product line. So FLYght is our first product line, and it's also very hard for our customers or potential customers in the future to see what we can bring if we don't actually have products that we take to the market. So our technology is so new, it's also very hard to convince people how special our technology is. Nevertheless, we're here to bring you FLYght technology, our FLYght light trap technology. So just to give you a quick biology lesson, no pest control lecture is worthwhile if it doesn't have a little bit of biotechnology, biology in it. So I'm going to give you a term, and that term is called a Phototaxis response. That's the only thing you need to think about here. Phototaxis response. Basically, different wavelengths of light are absorbed by the eye of the fly. Okay, and there are about 8 or 9 very, very important wavelengths of light to this fly. So there is certain wavelengths of light that cause the fly to move to it. We call that a positive phototaxis response. And then there are certain wavelengths of light that make the fly fly away from it. They are repelled by the light. And that is known as a negative phototaxis response. So what we're trying to do here is we tried our best to understand what wavelengths of light these insects absorb the best, which wavelengths of light, to create a positive phototaxis response. That means scientifically, electronically measure what the fly sees and then understand what makes it want to move to a particular wavelength of light. And this is important. Then the other one is and this is known as the spectral sensitivity. That means the wavelengths of the spectrum which the fly is most sensitive to. And here is some of that results. So if you look here at the fly, we have information here about both male and female houseflies. And as you can see, there are certain peaks that are very important to them. This one here, that's at around 365 nanometers. And then there's another one here. And this is ranging from about 450 to about 500 nanometers. But again, the responses are different for males and very different and slightly different for females. So what we're trying to do is introduce a light at this spectrum and at this spectrum. So the primary spectral phototaxis sensitivity of houseflies and blowflies is at 365 and 480 nanometers. This is biology. We cannot change biology. This is how it is. This is how it always will be. And so what we need to do is develop a new technology that is tailored to the spectral sensitivity of the flies that we want to catch. So how does this knowledge help us? I've just explained it to you. Now, the other thing is this found in nature? Now, if it's already found in nature, then it validates the science that we are planning to patent or have already patented. So we developed something called Biove. And yes, it is found in nature. Here, the picture above is a pitcher plant, a carnivorous plant. The flies will smell this from miles away. And as they get closer and closer, they have no idea where to land because there is no distinctive marks telling them where to land. But that is to our eyes. That is to our eyes. But under UV light, which is the picture below, you can see that another wavelength of light is created by the plant under UV light that we as humans cannot see. Now, this was important to us because it tells the fly where to land exactly on the pitcher plant, which is that sticky, waxy, that slippery, waxy material that causes the flies to fall into the pitcher plant. And secondly to that is that it glows when it's ready. When it's not ready, the glow is not strong enough. So this was an interesting finding for us. The second thing is what color wavelength is the plant glowing at? And this we found out also, which was at 480 nanometers. So what we were finding on the insect was exactly what we were finding in nature. So we decided to patent this technology. So we have patented surfaces that glow like a carnivorous plant or a flower, and they glow at specific wavelengths that are targeted to the insect that we wish to catch. So we call this the biomimicry of carnivorous plants. So this Biove technology now utilizes UV LEDs. Now, the first thing you need to know about the future of UV LEDs, number one, is that UV LEDs traps currently are designed wrongly. They're currently facing outside. Like, I might come and explain that to you later, or if you want to ask the question, you can ask me later, and I'll explain that to you. And what we've done is we have stopped that from happening by turning the LED bulbs inwards. So they're not facing out of the trap, they're facing inwards of the trap. A bit like the sun. The flies are not looking at the sun, but the UV from the sun is generating a glowing surface that they are highly attracted to in nature. So what we needed to do was create a second wavelength of light, like the carnivorous plants, but using a single wavelength of light, which is the UV from the sun. And we created these visually attractive surfaces that attract carnivorous plants. So multiple wavelengths of light from a single source, LED. So the LED only gives you one wavelength of light. It's different from a fluorescent tube. And then what it does is it glows off a board that you see at the back of your FLYght traps, and that glows and gives it that lovely blue color, which is 480 nanometers. But at the same time, the 365 is reflecting off that board, creating two wavelengths of light, not one. Okay, so this is unique, patented biotechnology, and this is exactly what's happening in the environment in carnivorous plants. So the great thing about the trap is it'll take the standard universal glue board. If you're not buying it from us, you can buy it from your local supplier. That's not a problem. Our trap designs are aluminum cased. They're strong. They're lightweight. They can be glued up with 3M tape. We have one of my distributors in Southeast Asia, Ben Jazz, they stick it up on walls with 3M tape. They use hooks, 3M hooks. You don't have to drill a wall. It's not necessary anymore. It's extremely, extremely low energy. It's less than 10 watts. It's probably closer to about 8.5, 9, but we call it less than 10 watts. Everybody else's out there is using 16-watt tubes. Okay? So they're using two of that. That's 32 LED, 32 watts LED tubes. I don't know where they're getting their energy savings from. We are at 8 watts, that's it. Our LEDs are able to last for more than 5 years in the field, but we warranty them, we guarantee them for 3 years as a manufacturer. They're also shatterproof, there's no glass, so there is no issues with being HACCP compliant. They are, in normal light traps with the tubes, the thing that makes the glue board less and less sticky over time is the UV coming out of the tube. It cures the glues. That's just inevitable. So you really can only put your glue boards out for between 30 to 40 days. Anything after 40 days on an old light trap, it's kind of useless. Also, the heat generated from that cures up the glues. However, with LEDs, facing them onto a glue board would cure them as well. Ours do not face the glue board. They face away from the glue board. So because of that, the glue stays sticky for longer. We don't know what manufacturer you're using, so we can't recommend that. But they do stay stickier for longer, especially for those locations where you don't necessarily need to change the glue board every month. Well, don't. And it's also future-ready technology. In Singapore, for instance, in 2023, they're going to phase out the use of all fluorescent tubes everywhere, anywhere. That includes in pest control, but mainly for home lighting, but it also includes pest control. So there isn't any alternative, and the current LEDs on the market are not working, even as customers change them. So what about the fly catch? We're currently doing some third-party independent fly catch tests in India. Maybe Giri could talk to you guys about that, where we're testing a leading manufacturer of insect light trap against the FLYght Duo. And the results are actually consistent with the test results that you see here that was done in-house in our in-house test facility. But generally speaking, our FLYght Duo will catch flies a little bit faster and a little bit more than your current 30-watt trap. Probably not on the first day you install your 30-watt tubes, because that's the best day of usage. And then they get slowly worse over the year. With our UV LEDs, the UV release doesn't deteriorate, so it stays the same for the duration of the LED's lifespan. But if you take our comparison against a 2-tube 30-watt professional light trap available on the market, you'll find that our flies catch faster, and they catch more, and they use a hell of a lot less energy. Okay, so this is what the FLYght Duo. I know you've probably got one in front of you, so you can see that. You can see on the left there, they're being tested out in our factory in India, and each unit gets tested before it gets packed and sent off to you. We have lots I mean, being from an electronics company now, I can say this. I don't know much about electronics. I know not, to be honest with you, but I'm learning every day. And I know that some of the future technology that we have been discussing, and because we're a small company, we can only do kind of 1 or 2 things at the same time. But as we grow, one of the things that we're going to get into is auto dimming. So a good example of this is if you have a duo light trap on 24 hours in a property, but at night, you're only going to get night flyers. You don't get house flies flying around at night. That just doesn't happen. So night flyers they're highly attracted to our light traps, and that's great. But you can decrease the intensity of the light by around 50% and still get exactly the same catch rate. So what we plan to do is have auto dimming so that you can save even more electricity. So instead of having, you can save 25% more. So it's like running 7.5 to 8 watts of electricity throughout the lifespan of the light trap. And that's huge difference from a 30-watt tube trap. That's what is it? My maths is really poor here, but that's 4 times less energy than, or a quarter of the energy of a 30-watt tube trap. Our future also will be looking to work with our beta customers volume customers to develop different boards at the back to be more selective to genus. So we know a particular insect species that they want to catch more of, has a particular spectrum that causes phototaxis. We'll be able to change the color slightly, modify the colors slightly on the back when the glow occurs to make it more attractive to a particular type of insect. Again, this is totally new technology that no one's really looked at and that we've patented for. Then the future is also to look at count and fly catch data. Giri and I have talked about this a lot. What we're looking to do is really develop technology that you could either put in your phone, take a photograph of flies on a glue board, so your pest controllers don't have to do the counting. They can just report the number achieved by the app, or put this technology into the light traps, so that the light traps can do daily counts and let you know when you service the trap. It downloads to your mobile phone via Bluetooth, so there's no connectivity issues and all that. Glue boards still need to be serviced. So every month when you go to your light trap, you download all the information and upload all the new information. But we're also looking at lots of other different things like quality control on glue boards. So we have only glue boards that you buy from us that can be placed in our light traps. They can go into everybody else's light traps, but nobody else's glue boards can go into our light traps. So we're able to develop all sorts of funny technology like that. Yeah, I hope you like the FLYght trap. I'll take questions.